get into the advisory now, and many Australians are likely to inherit a house as we continue to see the intergenerational wealth transfer. So what should you do if you're in that basket? Betsy Westcott from Inner Money Journey joining me now. Betsy, great to see you as always. I mean, there are a lot of people that are likely to inherit a house. What's the best advice in terms of how you go about this?
Well, I think the first thing to understand is who is inheriting this house with you. If you're an only child, the only beneficiary, that's going to be a really simple equation. But for most of us, there's going to be multiple beneficiaries, and you might have different ideas about what you want to do. So the first thing is to sit down and make a plan around what does everyone want and can you align on that. The second thing you really want to identify, is there any debt attached to this property? Because that's going to continue to need to be paid either from the estate or by you, the beneficiary. So is there a mortgage attached? Who's paying it? How much is it? And what can you afford to do? They're the first two things that I would be really identifying as an inheritor.
And obviously you may not inherit this solely. You might inherit along with siblings, other family members. What sort of conversations should people be having?
Everyone's going to have a different response to this. So really getting it out in the open, and ideally before you actually inherit the house. So if you're the person bequeathing this property, sitting down with your beneficiaries and letting them know what your intentions are, so that you can really mitigate the chance of any disputes and risks of fights. So identifying what all the beneficiaries want to do. One sibling might want to sell, the other one might want to move in and keep it, and how you navigate that is going to depend on everyone's financial situation. So it is really helpful, if you can't get on the same page, to get good quality advice from an accountant, a financial advisor, maybe even a mortgage broker. These negotiations can be tense. I mean, the stats around estates in Australia are pretty woeful. First of all, only 50% of us write a will. Of those wills, 50% get contested, and then of that, 70% are successfully contested. So having good quality of conversations up front is really, really powerful. Now, the other thing to be really mindful of is just not only what do you want to do, but what can you afford to do, and what are some of the implications of the choices that you make. So we don't have inheritance taxes here in Australia, not at this point anyway. There's a few things on review, but really understanding what tax would apply when you sell it. So if this property was the person who's passed away's primary place of residence, then that property will be capital gains tax free when you sell it, provided you sell it within 2 years. Now, 2 years might sound like a long time, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers who are listening might empathize with this, that when you're actually navigating the loss of a loved one, aligning with all the beneficiaries around what your plans are, if you are deciding to sell, getting that property ready for sale. Often these properties need a little bit of work, a bit of zhuzhing before you can put them on the market. 2 years passes by very, very quickly. So the person administering the probate will give an evaluation at the time of the person's death. What's that property worth? And then once that 2 years period has passed, if you then sell it, capital gains tax may apply 2-year period. So it's really important to not only know what everyone wants to do, but have clear conversations and be really mindful of that timeline to make sure you're making the best decision possible.
And I gather it seems pretty morbid while your parents are still alive, but so should some of these conversations be happening up front with your siblings before you start to get to this contesting point?
That's ideal. I mean, one, it's not about being a gold digger and being like, hey, when you die, what's coming my way, but really understanding what does the person who may pass away, what is it that they want to happen? And estate planning goes beyond just the assets. It's around that end of life. If they lose capacity to make decisions, what do they want to happen? Where are the documents? And being able to have these conversations up front is going to save a lot of pain, potential high expenses around those contested wills and those breakdowns of relationships. So I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to have those conversations regularly and get good quality legal advice to draw up that will and review it regularly, because circumstances change.
Now, you touched on the potential tax implications, Betsy, but what if the house still has a mortgage when it's passed on?
Well, that mortgage will need to be serviced. So either the estate, can, if there's cash and funds available, can keep paying that loan. If there's not funds available, not liquid funds available, then you, the beneficiaries, will be responsible for continuing to pay that loan. Now, you may or may not have the financial means to do that, or one of the beneficiaries might and another might not, which will really then influence the decisions that you make. It's probably going to lead to a sale. So all of these things, getting that information early, getting good advice, and then making some sound decisions is so important to influencing what outcome happens and how beneficial it is, and how smoothly it happens for all those involved.
And so just getting back to who those people that we search advice from, it's financial advisors, mortgage brokers, and I guess estate lawyers as well.
Yes, and the accountant. Don't forget our good old accountants as well.